Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Anu and I'm a holistic mindset and lifestyle coach, and today I wanted to share a little inspiring story. It's actually a personal story, and this was the time when I just knew a little bit about mindset, how you can, what people call manifest few things into reality, few things into your life, experiences. And for me, this is a story that I always go back to whenever I doubt myself. And this dates back to 2017 when I was practicing in India. And I had traveled to Switzerland for a conference. Well, actually first to Germany and then I traveled to Switzerland. And it was the first time I traveled outside of India, and also I was away from home. And I remember I was given like this kind of apartment. I traveled with a doctor that I worked with and my brother, one of my brothers, and we were given this like a 2-room apartment on the ground floor. And on top of it, there were these little rooms, like guest rooms, with a shared kitchen upstairs. And I remember staying there, and I just looked at one of these rooms, the window from outside, and I thought, oh, it would have been so wonderful to live there. This is June or July 2017. Then, of course, after my holidays, I went back to India, and I had this strong feeling that I want to be independent. I want to go and live there, and that's the time. On my flight back from Zurich to Bombay, I remember I was just trying to imagine that this is my flight now from Bombay to Zurich, and I'm not going as a tourist. I don't know how, but I'm staying there. I'm staying in Switzerland. That's the only thing that I knew. And it was, I think it was not so concrete, my belief, and of course I was just having a little bit of fun with it. And they were just like these wishes. And then what happened was I arrived back in Bombay. I had, so the doctor with whom I worked, the entire work relationship kind of ended. And perhaps now when I look back, I think that was meant to be. And I still have huge respect for him. But I think I was just in that mindset where I was just confused. And of course it showed up in my reality where everything was chaos. And long story short, then I ended up losing that job. And I think that also motivated me to start something new. So this idea that was festering in my mind, I could marinate a bit more in it. It's not that simple. You just don't say, I want to move to a new country and you know, they put a red carpet for you. So I had all these limiting beliefs, and all of a sudden I hear from a friend, I befriended him during this travel, and of course I knew this person earlier, but we were not like so much in contact. And he said, oh, by the way, there's this studies for 9 months in Switzerland, it's in English. And I just saw this course and I thought of you, what do you think? You have like 1 month to apply. And I thought it's just everything falling into place. It kind of, I was still not completely aware or completely in that moment figuring out like, oh, is this a sign? None of that. I just thought, okay, this might mean something. And then I spoke to my family, and they said, well, we think it's a wonderful idea. You've been working too hard and you've been doing too much. So maybe it would be a good idea for you to start something. And it's just for 9 months. You go there, you don't like it, you come back and you have another degree, which is also nice. And the studies also was very, something that was very intriguing for me, something very interesting. So it's not that I just dropped everything and I left. And I could see a huge potential once I would finish these studies. So then I filled out the form. We had a Skype interview and they said, oh, we would love to have you as a student. And then came the visa process. And I remember I had booked my flight just around so that I arrive in Switzerland and the next day my course begins. And I applied for the visa and everything was calculated. Okay, now I get the visa, it's going to be a week and then I'm going to fly. But there was a little twist in the story, and the visa people said, oh, we're sorry about the information that you got, but apparently this visa is going to take 3 weeks, which means I would have to cancel my flight. And also I would be 2 weeks later arriving in Switzerland. And I remember I was talking to one of my best friends and I said, hey, you know what, I'm packing my bag. I'm sure my visa is going to be there. I'm sure they're going to send my passport. I'm just packing my bag and this is the day when I'm flying. I have my tickets and I'm going. And I did not waver until the end moment where I got a little bit nervous. And just shortly before I got the visa and I had a couple of hours and then I was flying away. So that worked out. Now, after I arrived in Switzerland, there was again, I was then living in the hostel from the studies where we were studying, and they also had these little rooms. And because my bachelor's was not acknowledged here, or still isn't acknowledged here, I had to, of course, and for the flight, I used my savings and everything that I had collected over the past years. I used it for my studies and everything, and of course because of the currency difference it becomes a huge amount. And then I started doing odd jobs like babysitting, cleaning, private houses, just basically everything that a student does, and I could somehow manage some money through these work that I have, and I'm truly grateful. Back then even those $10 or $20 was a lot. And I was falling short of my rent to pay, but the lady was amazing. She was very sweet, and she said, from the hostel, and she said, hey, there's students coming here and we understand, so you can pay it at the end and I'm sure something is going to work out for you. And I remember whenever I used to go for cleaning or any odd job, every time I would lock the apartment or the hostel door, everyone had a room, a small room. And every time I would lock my door, I would imagine, okay, now I have the keys, the bundle of keys, now I'm going to work and this is the place where I work. I imagined like this office place, which was very close to one of the buildings that I just had described, that I'd seen in summer 2017, where I was staying as a tourist. And there did exist a pharmaceutical company close to it where I was somehow in contact with. And I would imagine, okay, this is where I'm going. I'm not going doing odd jobs and nothing is concrete. No, I'm going there and I'll have like a fixed salary. And for me, the amount did not matter. For me, it was just that I know that this is the amount that I get every month, even if it's just neck to neck to pay my bills and to pay my rent. That's enough for me. So I was really settling for bare minimum, making ends meet. That was my goal. And 2 years after that, I actually ended up with a job at the same company. First, of course, it was part-time, like 20%, and in 2020, I got a 100% job, which again was something where I consciously put my energy, my thought into. And I lived in one of those rooms that I described after moving out from the hostel. They said, oh, you're working in this company, and even though it's part-time, it's convenient if you want one of those rooms on the top floor, but just so that it's a little room, like guest rooms, and then you have a shared kitchen and a bathroom. And for me, it was like, are you kidding me? It's everything that I dreamed of. So of course, that's how I manifested the job, and I'm still working in that company, and I love that place. I'm truly grateful that everything worked out. The most beautiful thing is, when I look back, there were a lot of things that people kept on telling me. For instance, based on your studies that you've done in India, your bachelor's is not accountable here. Your visa, or you're on a student permit and things don't work out, and of course you're coming from India, the first preference for any job would be first a Swiss citizen, and then a European, and then somebody outside of Europe. So there were all these limiting beliefs that people kept telling me, and it was like next to impossible. Forget about it. But I had that vision set, and I just knew I don't know what twist this story has to take, but I know where I'm landing. I know my final goal, and I just focused on that. So of course there were days when I would doubt, I would cry, and I would think this was a horrible idea. Why did I do it to begin with? But it all worked out fine. And for me, what I take from that story personally is I think it would have been even much easier if I would have been consistent with my thought and really not wavered in between, because everything in this story happened just towards the end of a deadline or towards the end of my visa expiring and then getting this job. And one thing was for sure, when I pictured myself working in this company, and I kid you not, even the office that they gave me was the same office that I used to watch when I used to go for a walk. I used to watch that room in that in the pharmaceutical company. I used to be like, oh, I think this is my office, and I would move my keys around and be like, oh no, I'm gonna enter the door, and it all played out. It all played out, and so basically, what I realized through all of this is if you are disciplined enough to watch your thoughts and simply put, with your subconscious mind, just imagine there's this machine or this genie, there's this huge intelligence which is infinite within you. And it's just waiting for you to say, whatever you think, I'll give it to you. Whatever you focus on, I'll give it to you. It's like your wish is my command. And then to take responsibility for it. Okay, what am I programming my brain with? What kind of information I'm programming my brain with? Am I saying, oh, I'm broken, I need healing. And the subconscious mind is going to be like, oh yes, okay, I'll show you more of that. Or you look at the world and you see everything is so miserable and people are getting divorces all the time, and your subconscious mind is going to be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'll show you more divorces. Or you see a couple, let's assume you're single, you see a couple, or you see somebody's wedding pictures. Sometimes it's just like, oh, I can't look at it because it's so painful. Everybody gets it, why don't I get it? So the subconscious mind is going to be like, okay, I'm going to show you more of that. And a very simple exercise would be to test or to have faith or gain confidence in your power, would be something as simple as, I don't know, you want to see a yellow car. Something as simple as that. So I used to play around with that thought and be like, I've never seen a rubber duck. I want to see a rubber duck. And then I would just imagine, what would a rubber duck feel like? How big is it going to be? How is the texture? Would it have like this plasticky smell, I would imagine? And it would show up in my reality. The same thing I would do with different cars, for instance, just to see them on the street. And once I imagined this bus, which was completely purple, and I saw it in a couple of days, I saw it on the street. And when these moments happen, you are just, it's like you're like a child basically, and you're so happy, and keep repeating it. There's so many things even in my apartment now that I had imagined. And that is why for me, I don't get lost I did not get lost when it came to setting my apartment. And my friends thought I'm very skilled at this, but no, it was the first time I had an apartment in my entire life that I could say this is my place and I live alone. Many books that I could just have in my reality by thinking of them, or sometimes it would be some topic and I'd be like, it would be nice to have a book which talks about these topics from this perspective. And I'm not even saying it out loud, and it would just show up as an ad or something. Or I would see like an advertisement at a bus stop. So many things, plenty of these little examples that I could just go on for hours talking about. But coming back to the job, another interesting thing is, I just knew this is the office that I'll be working. This is the place. I will have a job, that's 100%. And I did not bother about having a title. So I did not know what I'm doing. I just know that my education, my knowledge, my skills would be celebrated in this place. And how that unfolded, or even the title that I ended up with, is truly a mystery. And I think that's where you just have to surrender and not try to dissect it too much, but just accept it, that there's so many miracles that keep happening throughout your life, and you are basically in charge of it. So again, coming back to how powerful you are, if you could just have discipline, dedication, don't give up. You might have wavering thoughts. You might look into your reality and be like, oh my God, I'm having all the signs of completely opposite thing of what I'm imagining or what I'm wanting in life. Do not give up. You have to push through that. And like I said in the previous video about the subconscious mind, it's about, again, the neural pathways. So you've put so much energy, effort, and work. Your brain has put so much work. Your nervous system has put so much work in building that pathway. So there might be resistance because you're introducing some new concept or a new way of living to your mind, to your brain, which then becomes a challenge. So it feels attack, and it will make everything possible for you to stay in that zone. And I recently was telling a friend of mine, I said, my past experience, and I've even had burnouts. I had 2 burnouts back to back in the past. And I think it was just my higher self trying to show me, or taking me rock bottom, so that I could eventually just let it go and learn how to unlearn things. And that's the time where I had a lot of resistance. And I told a friend of mine, I said, my painful experience, or my dark night of the soul, however you want to call it, one thing that I truly appreciate from that episode is that when I reflect back, I can say pain is a very comfortable place to be in. If you're in pain, you get used to that feeling as well. It's so funny because, on the contrary, if initially you have a bit of happiness after a long episode of bad experiences, you will even tell yourself sometimes, don't be too happy, because it'll go away. Why is that? Why do we feel that we are so unworthy of few things? And again, I've made mistakes, and I know now, so that's why I really want to share it, because it's a very simple thing. Like I said, it's about repetition, it's about being dedicated, and it's about not giving up. But watch what you're telling yourself. Are you watching this video and saying, it worked out for her, maybe it doesn't work out for me? Watch that thought. Or are you saying, once I do this, then I'm going to start implementing these principles? You're basically creating everything anyway. Good, bad, ugly, everything you are creating anyway. So might as well just be a little bit vigilant about your thoughts. Take your power back and say, okay, enough is enough, and now I'm taking control of my life. Things might go south now and then. It's fine. We don't give up. Come back to this video. No, nothing is impossible. Remind yourself how powerful you are, and keep going. Put that little voice in your head that tells you to stop, or this is not possible, this is not meant for you. Put it to rest. Know your goal. Be very clear about what you want. Be very specific about what you want, and go for it. And get that new neural pathway done. Because once it's built, that becomes your way of living. So I think, and I hope, I'm putting out this video with the intention that it reaches the right people, and it does encourage you, it helps you. And again, you can do, have whatever you want. It all depends on you. It all depends on your thoughts. So I'm sending you all lots of love, and I'm going to see you all soon. Bye.